wherever you stand on the climate change situation, right? I think most people who are listening to us would agree that bringing things home or building in the US would be a good thing. If it improves the carbon footprint, I'm sure everybody's for it. But I think everybody can agree that those things are good, and bringing things back to be built in the United States for a multitude of reasons, whether that is jobs, whether that is keeping costs down, whatever that looks like. How are you guys able to work with more domestic companies? Because sometimes you listen to the noise around you and you hear people say, there's just not enough people to do the work that we need done.
Mm-hmm. So Forge has offices in Massachusetts and Connecticut. And between the two, there are about 12,000 manufacturers just in Massachusetts and Connecticut.
Right.
And one of the things that we like to do when we're engaging with these emerging tech companies is emphasize our relationships are only local and domestic. That doesn't mean you won't choose to go overseas for some things, but did you know you can make this here? And are you aware of the full costs and benefits? Because frankly, what I find is most of these emerging companies assume by default they need to go overseas, to your point. Just assume they can't get it done here. Don't even realize how strong the backbone of manufacturing is locally. And more importantly, may not be aware. I think now people are much more aware of, the risks in globalized supply chains with all of the disruptions and delays we've seen. But there are these hidden costs too that I think, especially like a young, fast-moving company may miss. When you move production overseas, you do have to invest more, depending on communications, overseas management, the costs of tariffs. A lot of these things are hidden in your quotes, the risk management around the disruptions. And so we try to educate companies about the fact that a lot of things can be done here. We're here to do whatever is best for the innovative company. So if they go overseas, that's fine. But just helping them understand what does exist and what the advantages can be for them in terms of managing risk and, especially some of these products we talked about with a lot of regulatory requirements. If they're trying to deploy them in markets here, there can be a lot of efficiency there. It's just helping them think through that whole picture and then make the right decision instead of defaulting.
Well, and I think the other part of it is for these businesses to understand that what starts out as their idea may not finish as their idea. It's been seen over and over again where you send things overseas to be made, and there's usually two versions that get made. It's yours, and then the knockoff version. And with some of the companies that you're talking about and the innovation that they're putting out there, I mean, you wouldn't want that happening.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing I would say. There are certainly going to be certain raw materials or certain widgets that a company may make a strategic decision about. But by and large, the companies that we've helped localize their supply chains are really enthusiastic about that as an emerging competitive advantage for them on multiple fronts: risk management, branding, especially if it's kind of high fidelity, high precision stuff, or again, early stage iteration stuff, just because of the tight communication there. So what we find is once folks learn they can make it here, they often really lean into that. And 70% of the emerging companies we work with just come back to Forge over and over for new support and referrals as they hit their next need or their next scale.
No, that's really exciting and good to hear, because like I said, we hear it all the time where people are, manufacturers, whether that's plastic manufacturers, the molding houses, they'll tell a mold maker, you have to get me 3 quotes, and one of those has to be international. And a lot of times that one will be cheaper, and sometimes that's all they look for is the bottom line dollar, even though you can get it done here for not the same price, but the quality might be better, or the risk of having it here on time may be better. There are other benefits, but sometimes you just get the bean counter people that that's really all they care about is the bottom dollar and the price, and that's it. And it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, well, and one thing we do try to do at Forge is, again, on the education side, we have workshops around selecting your supplier and like key considerations and key documentation to have in place. And we have workbooks to help folks think through all these layers of complexity that should go into the choice beyond just price, understanding that price can be very, very important and will be a factor in the decision, making sure folks are accounting for everything else as well.
Hey there, thanks for watching the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. If you like what you saw, click here to watch the full interview, or you can click our channel link here. But either way, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. That's it for now. Take care and God bless.